was fixated on her watch. She had been running fast, on course for a personal best, and then the damned watch crashed. No, don't do this to me. These lights were the slowest in the world. It took forever to change. They messed up her times for her run when she missed them, forcing her to wait, jogging on the spot to keep warm in the freezing early morning air with traffic streaming past too fast to risk a dash between the vehicles, almost all of them way exceeding the speed limit. She stared at her fancy new running watch, silently pleading with it. The all-singing, all-dancing, top-of-the-range model that seemed to do everything but tell the time, and which wasn't doing any of those other things either. Right now it was a useless, big, shiny, red and black bracelet on her wrist. All she'd wanted was something to replace her trusted old sports watch that had died. Something that had a heart rate function and GPS that would connect her to the app Runmaster. The salesman in the sports shop had assured her this one had more computing power in it than NASA when they put the first man on the moon. Seriously? Do I need that just for a running watch? She'd asked him. Seriously, you do, he'd assured her solemnly. Now she was seriously pissed off. As she finally got a green and ran out into the road, she noticed too late the black Porsche. The driver hadn't seen the lights were now red against the traffic. The driver with fancy sunglasses who wasn't even looking at the road. She froze, flung her arms protectively around the tiny bump growing inside her. 3. Friday, 7th December. Marcus Valentine was irritated by what part of "I have to go, I have an emergency operation" Claire didn't understand. He'd been besotted with her the very first time he'd seen her. It was when he'd attended management development training she'd delivered at the hospital. The year after he'd moved to this island to start his new life as a consultant gynae-oncologist. She was tall, willowy, beautiful, and always smiling. Although blonde, she'd reminded him so much of the girl he'd been infatuated with as a teenager, Lynette. He would always remember the first time he'd seen Lynette, on that perfect midsummer Saturday afternoon. He was 16, lying in long grass behind a bush out of sight of teachers, smoking illicitly with a bunch of schoolmates, all of them skiving off from cricket. Jason Donovan had been playing on the radio one of them had brought along, sealed with a kiss, when an apparition had appeared across the field. Impossibly long legs, flowing red hair, dark glasses and a tantalizingly short white dress that clung to the contours of her body. She'd walked over, introduced herself, bummed a cigarette, then sat and flirted with them all, asking their names. Each had done their best to chat her up before she'd left, striding away and blowing a kiss and giving a coy wave of her hand. At him, he was certain. "You're in there, Marcus," one of his friends had said. "She liked you. Don't know why she'd like a spotty fatso like you." "She was probably blind. That's why she wore those glasses," said another. Ignoring the comments and jeers, Marcus stood up and hurried after her. She gave him an inviting sideways glance and stopped. And right there, in full sight of all his now incredulous and incredibly jealous friends, had snogged him, long and hard. They'd met 3 times over the next few days, very briefly, just a short conversation, then a deep French kiss each time. Nothing else, as she always had to rush off. Marcus was becoming crazy for her. "When can I see you again?" he'd blurted on the 3rd meeting, barely able to believe his luck. "Same time, same place tomorrow," she'd replied. "Without your mates?" Marcus had barely slept all night thinking about her. At 3 p.m. the following afternoon, half an hour before she was due, having ducked out of a cross-country run, he'd positioned himself behind the bushes. She'd arrived on the dot, and he signalled her over, standing up to meet her. This time they'd kissed instantly, before they'd spoken a word. To his astonishment, she'd slid her hand down inside the front of his shorts and gripped his penis. Smiling into his eyes and working her hand up and down, she'd said, "Wow, you're big. Do you think it would fit me?" He was gasping, unable to speak.